Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Cox. If you guys don't know me, I am part of the CE Image Sharing Group. I'm a cause entrepreneur with One Hope. And I am so glad that I am able to share some wisdom that I have learned with all of you in regards to Canva. Now, if you guys can look, you can either unmute yourself or you can just type in the chat box. How familiar are you with Canva and how often do you use it? David's pretty familiar. David's on my wine team, so I know that he's pretty familiar. I see the graphics that he creates. Keisha, she's diving in and she's doing really good and self-taught. I'm a self-taught person as well. All right, Jill's and she uses it all the time. Perfect. Uh, Canva is literally like it is changing the landscape of how people do their advertisements, their social media posts, everything. Like you will notice once you get into Canva and you will see some of the templates, and then you'll go to a restaurant or you'll walk down the street or you'll see somebody else post something and you're like, oh, they use Canva. Like One Hope uses Canva for everything. Like there's a lot of stuff that they use that they create that is in Canva. Like and that's why it's so powerful. I have a friend who works her friend works at Adobe and she's like, oh my gosh, Canva is just like kicking our butt. Like we need to change it. It's changed so much that Adobe has changed the way that they do stuff and what they offer too. So it's really interesting and everybody uses it. I'm on this Canva team that we get like these little insights and different things first and previews and do this random stuff with people. But there's been over 15 million designs on Canva. So it's really, really powerful. Everything from what we do as independent reps with a company to full-blown Fortune 500 companies. I even notice like in job descriptions when I'm looking for different jobs or, contacting nonprofits, but I look at their job list and stuff too. Canva, if anything for a social media manager, marketing, any space of that, Canva is like one of the things that people need to know. So whether you do this for your business with One Hope or your other direct sales companies, or just for a life skill, like this has completely changed what I do and how I do stuff. And I also now do graphics for people locally. I help them with their social media planning and stuff too. And so I create a lot of different content and graphic design work for other people as well, which is coming really handy for me. Because I like this little like, hey, let's work from home, make our own lifestyle, right? I think we all like that. Oh, so I see. So Manica, you've used it twice for mock-ups and took you 2 hours. You know what? Sometimes this does. It is not easy. Sometimes it is not. There are some easy things. I'm going to show you the easy buttons today. But when you are designing just kind of on the side, it's like, ooh, what should I say? How should I do it? There's so many fonts to choose from. There's so many different layouts. There's a lot of different things that you can do that sometimes it gets overwhelming. So they have a lot of really good templates. And I know the gifting office dropped down a bunch of templates to just kind of use. I also have a bunch of templates that I put in the guide section of the CE image sharing group if you're a cause entrepreneur. So there's some templates in there too. So just search templates for like those what do you call it? The crates. Like so if you're gonna do a crate and or custom labels and stuff too. Yes, Heidi uses it a lot. I see your work. Well, someone just said they used it for a vision board. Oh, Manica, you used it for a vision board as well. Okay, very cool. Yeah, which is really good because you can just drag and drop. You can search and find what you want and pop it on your vision board and print it out. So it's kind of fun. Or use that as your screensaver. Yes, and David, there are a lot of useful people to follow on TikTok and Instagram too. So if you have certain people that you like to follow on TikTok or Instagram that do any kind of design work or anything like that you use as a resource, drop their names down in here and their tags, and I can compile a whole list of that too, so we can have a resource, because everybody learns from people differently and everybody learns at a different rate, and what might resonate with you today, you may be like, oh, what was that? But maybe you'll find it again later. So you can put in there. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and go into Canva. I just restarted my computer, so I'm very proud of myself that I don't have 50 million tabs open like I normally do, which my team can attest to because they're like, wow, Tracy, you don't have any tabs open. What's going on with you? So kind of the basics for Canva. So there's two different versions of Canva that you can sign up for when you begin. There's the free plan, which has a lot of options. You do not have to go to the pro plan unless you feel you need to. If you do, I have a code that gives you, I think, 30 days free of pro, and then you can go into it. And this isn't a sales pitch for that. It's just you're going to see some of the reasons why maybe you would want pro versus free, but you can do everything that you want to do in Canva for free. Pro just gives you more design tools. It also gives you more storage space. So for me, I have a lot of things in my files and I have folders upon folders with images upon images. So I use a lot of space. So I need the pro plan. But the one main thing that I really love about the pro plan is the background remover. Plus there's shadows and effects that you can't get with the other one. But there's so many free templates and everything out here. So don't feel like you have to invest in this unless you want to. And if you do invest in this, also check with your tax person to see if this is something that you can write off on your taxes, because it is a business tool. So when you first launch into Canva, we're just going to go through like the layout so you can kind of see what's what and who's where and what kind of everything is. This is your desktop that will pop up. So along the top, there's a design spotlight. You can look through different templates, which they have so many templates. Sometimes you get lost in the template like zone of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I think Heidi said that in her comment too. There's a lot of business things you can do. You can, these are different ways that you can feature the different industries, departments that use this. Education. There is also, if you are a teacher or a nonprofit, nonprofits can apply to get Canva for free. And teachers can also apply to get Canva for free. So Canva is all about giving back and helping. So I have a nonprofit one that I use for the school that I work for. Plus, I don't have to teach one. I actually pay for mine, but I have shared it with the teachers at our school for that as well. Kristen, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I am a teacher. And so how do we do that?
I will send you the link afterwards because there's a place that you have to apply for it. I think it's when you first start your Canva, it'll ask you what you're using it for, but there is a Canva for teachers for free. They
So go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say they actually have a whole section designed for Canva for education. So the whole school can launch a whole Canva platform. You may not need that. It has to integrate with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I looked through the course on that just as a side note. And I didn't see why I would need that versus a teacher account. So
Okay.
our teachers just use it for free, but there is a lot of different, like when you look at their case studies, there's schools that use this in like Australia, the UK. It is an Australia based company.
Yeah, I'm a special ed teacher's assistant. Um, so anything that can help me
Yeah.
save is huge.
Yeah. Awesome. I will write down teacher so I remember how to get that for free, and I will text you or
Thank you.
pop it in there. And if you want to give me your email address, so if there's an email, I can just send it over to you, or just
Okay.
on Facebook. That's fine too.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
But so with education, oh, maybe if you go up here under education, you can check on that link and see if the links are right there. There's so many things that they can do for education, and then plans and pricing, free, pro, or teams. So Canva does have a thing where it's called teams, but you have to pay for that after you get like 5 people on your team. So it'd be great if I could have everybody on my design team in here, but it's like you have to pay like $12 a person per month to be on a team and stuff. So that gets a little crazy. So that's why we just share our templates. And then Canva also has their own blogs, their own design school and help center. So check in here too, because there's quick little tutorials that you can do. Up at the top, this is to download the Canva app. There is an app for their phone, which has gotten much, much better. I do use that. I like to create in Canva on my laptop, and then I can go to my Canva app and download it onto my phone if I want to post a reel or if I want to post it on social. I can do that as well. It just depends on how you want to use it. I find there's more versatility and I have more control over my designs on a laptop versus a phone. But if you're using a template and you're plugging and playing, your phone would be just fine. These are your account settings. This is notifications. And then this is created design. And then this over here is my name. So I know who I'm logged in as. Through the top over here, this is my home page. So you can see all my different designs that I have. Templates, these are my templates, and then projects. So I have some things sorted into projects. If you are using this as a brand manager, as a like probably how One Hope has theirs set up, and I have it set up for my school this way. I have a brand that I have for the school. So I upload my logos in here for them. I don't really have, I have my color palette. I have some fonts. I have some other fonts that I use that I pick. So there is palettes that you can choose, and you can add different fonts. If there's certain font styles that you like, you can do that. You don't have to do any of this though. I'm just sharing with what this is. There's also a content planner on here. So if you want to post to social media and you have groups, you have pages. I don't use this a lot on the content planner side. I more often use Facebook Meta Suite to do my content planning, and or I actually just do it natively from my app most of the time. There's lots of different thought processes behind content planners connecting to social. Does that help your algorithm? All that kind of stuff. When anything comes to social media and doing stuff, do what you feel best is best for you. If you're trying to be an influencer, then you might want to do more postings, more influencer type stuff. But if it works for you for right now, just go with your lane and what you want to do. Which brings me to the next question. What is it in Canva and designing? What are you going to use your Canva designs for? What is it that you are using it for? Social media? Do you want to create flyers? Are you a school teacher? What is it that you want to use Canva for? If you want to drop that down, or you can just even unmute yourself in the chat too and share with us. The other thing, so with Content Planner, you can definitely plan your content. This also is a good place to say like, oh, you know, February 4th was World Cancer Day, Random Act of Kindness Day. If you do so, for instance, I do have some scheduled, like it's someone's birthday next week at the school, so I have them scheduled. So I do try to do their birthday posts ahead of time. But that locks your design. So I can't go back into this design to then be like, oh, hey, I need to do the next birthday people, which is why I don't like to use the content planner, because then you have to copy the design and keep doing it. But this also does have, if you just went to content planner and thought, oh, what major holiday is coming up? Like, hey, it's World Wildlife Day on the 3rd. So how cool is it? International Women's Day. So you can get some designs. There's smart mockups, there's discover apps, and then there's uploads. So we're going to go into creating a design. So social media, flyers and handouts to promote your team, event social media posts, promos, social stories, and reels. All of that is here, which is awesome. So a lot of times what I like to do is when you start, you're going to be like, oh, where do I start? So if you know, you can go into templates and you can scroll down here and like, okay, do you want to do a whiteboard is if you were actually with a bunch of people and we were scribing on this whiteboard, we could all be talking on this whiteboard right now and doing stuff. So if you're a bigger business, this kind of works for you to keep your ideas flowing, or if you're doing a brainstorming session. Instagram stories, Instagram reels, Instagram posts, your stories, which is Facebook, Facebook posts, flyers, portraits, announcements, documents. Let's just start with a basic like Facebook post. There's also, if you scroll through the templates, you can see sometimes I just scroll through to be like, oh, I like this. I like this. Why we're talking and looking at this use this as kind of like your design and your design elements and your design thought process. So what stands out to you? Also look at what other people produce from people you follow on Facebook or Instagram. When their content is shown to you, what content resonates with you? Is it the colors? Is it the font? Is it the size of a font? I have one of my art teachers in our school who hired a social media manager, not me, and she makes she has these quotes, and it's great. Quotes are awesome. Everybody loves quotes, but her quotes are really tiny and her background is really busy. And so I did a side by side with her to say, hey, this is your quote. This is what your social media manager should do. I don't know if I could show you this on my phone. It just makes a difference on how the person perceives the information. And if they want to, if it's too busy, they're not going to look at it. If it's not busy enough, then they might be like, oh, yeah. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is how she did one of hers, like little tiny font with a crazy little background. It's kind of hard to see from my phone, maybe. But then I was like, oh, you could still do a big background, but make your words bigger. Because then you don't have to, like, your audience isn't squinting. It's also good to know who your audience is. Like, I just did a report for the school, and most of our audience is 35 to 44. So it is knowing who your audience is. If they're on Facebook, Facebook audiences tend to skew a little higher in age range from that 35 plus. Instagram might be a little lower depending on who you market and who your friends are on Instagram too. So it's kind of like what works for what app as well. And again, do what you feel is works for you first, and then you can build upon that once you get that comfort level. But that's why I like to see, like, look at the templates, see what kind of what's going on with all the different little templates that are out there, because there's so many. So we're going to jump into a Facebook post. And you can also search the templates up here. So let's say, you know, if it was Valentine's Day, you could search Valentine's Day. You could also search International Women's Day. You could search breast cancer. You could search whatever term you want. Just put a term in here, kind of like when you're searching the image sharing group for a file. If someone else has done it, you can search that information on here. I always like to start with just kind of like scrolling, like, what am I looking for? What am I going to do? So I know a lot of us, like, for instance, what's coming up is we're launching the Wild Things. You can't see it, but there's wine over there. And the Wild Things Bloom. So maybe we want to do something with like wild things. Maybe we want to do something with wine. If you just search wine even and just enter, you're going to see that there is a lot of different things that are already pre-done wine templates on here, that this just makes it easy for you to plug and play and put in a one hope graphic, your graphic, even like this one, like someone was saying, to promote their team and stuff. Like, you could do a partners in wine, you know, Instagram story that shares with other people, and then highlight your partners in wine on your story. I don't know why my screen keeps moving. Sorry. I don't know what just happened there. So we're going to go into, well, let's see, we all have wine tasting parties coming up. So let's do a wine tasting party invitation. So we're just going to click this one. This one's it's pretty easy. This one's pretty cut and dry, because you can really just, you know, like change the information on here, which is great, because look at all these different invitations that you can use for whether it's an online event or in someone's house. When you click on a template, even if myself or David or one of you make a template, you share the template on our CE image sharing page, you're able to customize this template. So we're going to customize this template by clicking on it. Doop, doop, doop. Sound effects make it more fun, right? Doop, 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 doop. And it always goes slow when we are live. So a lot of this stuff, and what's the easiest thing, like we just said, is that you may want to just cut and paste and click on the information. So when you open a template or a flyer, I always recommend don't start from scratch, because then you're kind of intimidated. But if for some reason you just open up a blank page, I'll show you a way that you can find some templates to go in there too. So with this design, wine tasting, that may be what you want. Your logo. So if you have created a brand identity for yourself, if you have created, if you have your own name, or if you want to put the One Hope logo there, you could do that. I do recommend that with anything that we do as cause entrepreneurs, that your name is always on whatever it is that you send out. So it's kind of like a real estate agent. And I use this analogy a lot. Keller Williams is the broker, but Tracy Cox is the real estate agent. I'm not a real estate agent, just so you know, just using that as an example. But you'll also see there's a real estate agent in our neighborhood, like Keller Williams. Actually, she just moved to Compass. Compass is her broker, but Homes by America is her brand that she's created underneath that. So if you have a brand identity, and if you don't, remember, people are buying, you want people to know you, like you, and trust you, and to buy from you, and to keep yourself in the forefront of when they think of wine, and or when they think of One Hope, they're like, oh yeah, Brenda, she sells One Hope, like I've heard of that brand before, so people come back to you. So you always want to make sure your name's on there someplace. So if this was a wine tasting, you might want to put also editing this, I'll make this a little bit bigger. So when you edit, all of these are text blocks. So you can click and then you can edit the information. I'm just going to say Wine with Tracy. When you're in a text box, it turns purple. The little circles help you enlarge it. The rectangles on the side will pull it out left or right. What is that? Horizontal? Horizontal, yeah. So that's how you can change your text box around. You can also, if you click off of it and then click back on it again, you'll see these little bars pop up. This means to duplicate. So if you click that, it would duplicate that. This is to trash it. So you can trash that one we just duplicated. Little ... is a bunch of different items that pop up on a menu. Send forward, send backwards. We'll go through some of those in a little bit. Animate, you could animate your text on here as well. If you're working with somebody in a team, you can make a comment so they can come back in here and you can read their comments, or a link. So if you are creating a PDF, that is going to be a flyer that you can send out. You could, for instance, on here, if this was to say RSVP, click here to RSVP. You could then, click this link, and over here, if there was a link to go to, which this is not a RSVP link, but let's say you're just putting something out for somebody and say, click here to buy wine. You could enter the link here. Now, this will only work as a link when you're doing a PDF, which is a document that you would send via email. You could also upload it on certain groups in Facebook, but links are not clickable on photos on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. So you wouldn't use it for a photo. But if for some reason you're like, hey, this is the wine tasting party flyer that we're sending out to everybody, let's do a click here link that takes them to the RSV page, or for more information, click here. You can definitely use that link so that you can get the information. And or you may just want to have it like a call to action of like, hey, follow my VIP group here, follow this, like that. Oh, so Heidi is saying, yes, the new iPhone feature will read all words and the link becomes clickable when you do text that. So iPhone has, if you're an iPhone user, there's a lot of updates to the iPhone too, which I have another little trick to tell you in a little bit as well for that, which is really, really good. Like we have so much power just in our phones that we don't even know what we have here as well. So we'll go back over here to this, our toolbar. Oh, so somebody on Galaxy said when they click the template, it asked me to join Pro and I can't use it. Do I have to sign up first? So you don't have to sign up first to use Pro, but if it is a Pro template, if you were going to download it, then it would charge you per the elements that are on there that may be Pro. So for instance, this is probably a Pro element. I didn't even look at that when we started because I have Pro, so I don't even think about that stuff. So thank you for bringing that up. So you can use Pro elements, and what an element is over here on your left-hand side on your design tools. If you click elements, you will see all these different elements that'll pop up. Anything that has this little crown next to it means Pro. So like you could use this graphic of this wine bottle because it's not a Pro element, but this graphic of this wine bottle is. And then when you went to download it, which I really like these watercolor wine bottles, by the way, I think they're really cool. There's a lot of watercolor stuff in here. So when you would go to download this design, it would, if you don't have the Pro account, it would ask you and say, oh, you need to pay like $1 for this element to use it. When you pay the Pro, you have the licensing behind it, so you can use any of the graphics, any of the designs, anything that anybody else has created on here, and you don't have to pay for it. So that's the same thing with like different stickers, different photos. You know, like look at these fun drinks. Not fun. It's gonna make me thirsty right now, but there's a lot of fun stuff. So that's a free element on there. I don't know what's paid on this design and what's not. It could be the font, even fonts. So if we wanted to change this font, we could go up here on the top and you would say it's font size, font color. If the font is able to be bolded or italics, these will be in black. This is your font alignment. If you want to list it and bullet point it, you just click that button. To separate your line spacing, you can do the letters and you just drag them. You can do line spacing to put them further apart from each other. You can anchor the text, and then effects is something else too. So if you have effects, you can click, do you want to lift it? Do you want to see what the intensity is? Do you want to make that neon? There's different effects that you can do as well. You can also animate your text, which I think some of this animation might be on the Pro plan. But when you click, you just hover over these, you can see how it just brings to life your information. A lot of stuff is on mobile and just in Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and everything. People like movement. So anything that has a movement in it really helps people draw their attention to it. So you may want to do, you know, one word, all the words of have something fun there. I'm actually going to move this down here so I can. I always design kind of from this angle because I look at stuff from like kind of farther away. And even though this said this, oh, we're doing a wine tasting flyer, I was like, this is not a Facebook, but one for Facebook. So some of these other things that you would go in here and change, again, you just click it. And then if you click something once that element turns purple, then you can drag them around and put where you want. So again, this is why it's easier on a computer versus on your phone, because with your phone, you're either using a stylus or you're using, you know, what do you call it? Your finger to move that around, and then just change your information on here. So we're going to do, this is a advanced planning for 2027. This guy did, we like that. So we're going to say it's March 3rd, 2023, 7 p.m. Whoops. So that 7 p.m. went on the other line. So you just drag this out, or that 2023 did, 7 p.m. Free entry. We're not going to say free entry. It is free entry, but we're going to say Try the new wine. Now, when you have this and it's all spaced out like this, and you're like, oh, I want these to move together more, then you can go back up to your spacing feature and line spacing. You can drag it down so you can see how they can come together a little bit more. And then drag this so it's in the middle of that element. Now we're going to delete this picture, even though it's a really cute picture. And let's put in a picture of the Wild Things wine bottle. So there's a couple different ways that you can get the wine bottles and information. I like to say just go to your One Hope site, and always on your One Hope site is where the latest bottle images are going to be. So if you can pull them from here, pull them from this site, because you don't want to use a bottle that has the dot labels on it, because those are out of date. You want to make sure you're using and presenting the most current information. So for right now, the Wild Things is under CE exclusives. So it's not available to anybody yet. It's just available to us as cause entrepreneurs. So we only have a picture of this one. We're going to use this as the easy one. So we're going to take a picture. I right click on my picture, and then I'm going to say save image as. This is going to take a little bit. I'm going to say Wild Thing. And then go back into my Canva, and then I can either drag this into my uploads, or if I'm in my uploads folder, this is where you can drag your information in, or you can click over here, uploads. And then you can find what you just did. But I'm just going to drag it in here for the purpose. So I can drag and drop my picture in here. When this picture gets done uploading, I don't know if you saw over here, this uploads turned blue. So when it's done, you can click the picture to put it into your poster. Now, a lot of people would just be like, all right, let's just pop that in there like that. We're going to take out these little elements. And like, all right, let's go. Here's our invitation. We're just going to leave this picture. Now, this is the one thing that there's times that this looks good with this white border, and then there's times where this doesn't. This is one thing that kind of drives me crazy. It's like, oh, it would just takes quick little clicks and you're done. So this is one reason that I love Pro, is if you click on this and you go to edit the image, so you can edit all these images. You can crop this image. So if you wanted to crop this way down and you're like, oh, I have the free version. I don't want to remove the whole background, but I'm just going to make the white space a little bit lower. You can do that by cropping it. You can also flip the image horizontal. You can flip it vertical, because this Wild Things is going to have you seeing upside down. You can play with your stuff like that too. Like, do something fun and creative. Like, you never know, right? That could be super fun. Flip horizontal. You can animate this one too. So you can be like, whoa, and then you can see how you can slow these down of your animation. So that's kind of cool. And if you want to do no animation, you just click remove animation. So we're going to remove that. But the thing I like the best is edit image, the background remover. This is literally worth its weight in gold for the background remover. You literally click it and it's going to go in and magically just remove that white background. Ta-da! This is literally like the best thing. Now, if you have an iPhone, I don't know if you've done this on your iPhone yet, Heidi, but you can also remove your images, your backgrounds on your iPhone in your phone. So if you're in a message, let me see. Did I send them text to somebody with a picture? I'm trying to think. Okay, maybe we'll just do it quickly. Do I don't have that queued up right now, but I can show you that. I'll show you that later, how to remove your background in iPhone. It's easy. You just take the whatever picture it is, you put your finger on it, and it magically draws this little line around it, and you can export that. And then I always like to text it to myself and then save it into my phone and then transfer it into my Canva file. It's really, really cool. So Michelle wants to know, can we change the background on the photo from white to a different color? We can't do that in here, but now if you wanted to put a different color behind here, or let's say you wanted to put a pattern or something behind this element, or change this whole flyer color, when you click, remember when you click on something and it turns purple, so now we clicked on the background and the whole background is all highlighted purple. So this little toolbar up here kind of tells you what's going on and what you're clicking on as well. So if it is a text, this will change, so you can change the text and different text effects. If it is an element, it'll also let you know, like, oh, I could change this element to different colors. So maybe I'm going to change, I don't want that pink color. I really want it to be the color of this margarita bottle. Another intuitive thing about doing this is when you have a photo in your design and you scroll down under the color palette. So I have my brand kits that I have over here for what I use. And then it says photo colors. You can see like, oh, this is the pink that's pulled from that color. It'll automatically color match the colors that are in this photo. So you can be like, let's make that green color because we're going to like that green. And then maybe even the backdrop, we're going to be like, oh, it's kind of cute that way, but let's make it yellow. Or maybe we want to make it that red color. See, so it pulls out that information so you can really customize it to the colors, and then you can work within that same color palette so you have consistency in what you're producing. We might go back and let's say you want your background to be a little, because this is wild, and maybe you want it to be a little tropical. You can also go over to elements. I like to just go up to search elements and say tropical background. So there's different photos. There's graphics, photos, videos, and audio. Well, it's after this one. Frames. There's a lot of different information up here. So let's just say we're going to add a photo to the back. So if you want to see all these photos, because you're like, oh, I like those, or oh, I like these graphics, you can click the see all. And then let's just use, so sometimes you have to look at, okay, this picture is landscape. This is, portrait. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? This is where you kind of get into your creative zone too and be like, ooh, let's see what this looks like in here. So let's just use these subtle palm trees. And then you can see when you drag and drop it, it'll automatically kind of size it for whatever element that you're dragging and dropping it into. Now this is a lot of stuff going on here, so I might not use this depending on what my purpose is. Might want to use something more subtle. And like these tones kind of match what we're have anyway. So when you're in an image, it'll also tell you up here at the top, you can edit the image, you can crop, you can flip. So if we crop this, can you import a photo? Yes, you can import a photo and use it as your background too. So if you were going to crop this, the cropping tool, it gives you 4 corners, so you can make this a little smaller. Maybe drag this over so you don't have quite as much leaf, but you want more green, or maybe you just want the hint of that little leaf on there. So you can play with how you like this, or maybe you're like, I like these colors, but I don't want that leaf on there. Just make the photo bigger and then drag it over. And then now that leaf is gone. So when you say done, there's no leaf on there, but you have that color. So you're like, oh, I like those color tones. Like that's a good way to add that information on there. And Michelle asked, like, can you import a photo? So yes, so when you're in your uploads, now if we wanted to make it, let me go over here, let me find let's say we wanted to put the winery behind. Sorry, I was doing a fashion show flyer. Let's say we want this bottle of Pinot Grigio as our background. So you can just drag and drop this into your background. Whoops. Sometimes it doesn't want to drag and drop quite as well. Wait, do this again, drag it. There we go. Now that Pinot Grigio is your background. So maybe we're not doing this. Maybe we want this to be our wine tasting party invitation, which actually is kind of a really good background for this. We'll just move some of this information. Yes, you can format it however you want it. Now, if you want to move 2 or 3 things together, so if we wanted to move this, try the new wine, you see how that's just going to move without this element here. So if this is sitting on top of the circle, that's highlighted. If you click your shift button and then highlight the next one, you see how this one turns purple. So if I just clicked it, then I would be moving this element. If I have that square, which is the circle, highlighted, plus I hit the shift button and then I click on the next element, it gives you these little dashed lines around here. So that means that they're grouped together. So now you're moving the whole object together. And or you can go up here, and if you want that together always, you can click group, and now it's grouped after you click the group. So now you can move this freely anywhere you want to move this. And then if you want to edit this, you just click in it and you can edit it and be like, new wine. Sometimes when you're editing those though, see now that if I want to make that smaller, it's all grouped. So I have to ungroup it. So I can click back in here to make this a little smaller. And format around there. And then go into group it again. And same with like the city and state. Like maybe we'll move this stuff up here. And maybe we'll move this down here so people see this. These little elements just add the fun little zing. So you see when I'm moving this little star element, this is behind that circle. So this is where you use the position button and you can bring that forward. So then your star is in front of the little button. And if you want to make that star a little smaller, you can do that. And if you change that color, you can do that too. So sometimes when you go in and you're like, oh, you know what? This went from light to dark. We're changing the color. Like maybe I want to make this pink. I think I'm going to make this white though, because it'll pop out. If there was more white writing, sometimes down at the bottom, it'll give you an option to change all, and you just click change all and it changes everything. It just kind of depends on what elements and stuff you have in here. So I'm going to get rid of these little things. What color should we make this wine tasting, these words? Oh, I can't hear you, Brenda. Oh, there you go.
A gold, like the gold in the bottom.
The gold in the bottom?
The bottle, like right down by the landscape.
By the landscape?
Yeah.
Okay. So an easy way to see what colors are in this gold in the bottle are to click the color icon and then scroll down to photo colors. So there is no gold in there. It's not picking up that gold. I know what you mean probably by the yellow sun. So we don't see that in here, but that doesn't mean we can't search for a color. So we can go back up to the top and we could see document color. So these are the colors that are in the document. But if you click this, add a new color, you can click here and you can see it. So that one is kind of a gold tone because it brought us right into this little part of the rainbow. So if we wanted to, we could click over here, be like,
That, I like that last one.
this one.
No, you had one just before that that matched. It wasn't quite so bright.
Oh, I had, whoops. Okay, let me go back in there again.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Oh, that one, just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do that with the photo color. And again, so remember, this has an effect on it as well. Because your words typically don't look like that. So you go into effects, and that's the neon effect. And you can increase the intensity of the neon. You can also, if you wanted to have it like spliced,
Ooh,
you want
I
to
like
drop shadow. There's a lot of different things you can do with the drop shadow. You can also be like, oh, let's have it highlighted with a little green, or let's pop it with some red. A lot of this too is just playing around and figuring out what is it that you like, because your taste is going to change, your design skills are going to change throughout this whole process. But we're going to put this back to what we liked. Did we like it, the neon?
Yeah.
We're going to leave this as the neon, and then we're going to change these colors too, because let's see if we can do it all at once. We want those to pop a little more on the page too. So if you highlight a group of text together, see how I just did that? I clicked one. I didn't group them. I just clicked one, and then I held down my shift key and I clicked the other text boxes and went up to my text color so I could change my text all at once. It's just a little easier than doing it individually. I like to, if I'm unclicking something, so if something's clicked with the red or with the purple box, I like to click off over here on the side, because that just unclicks the box and I'm not clicking on my design, so I'm not accidentally clicking on another element of my design. I am going to move this little, if you want to delete something, just click on it and click delete. Now you can also rotate items. So if you wanted to rotate this font or this word or an element, again, when you highlight it, this little button is rotate. So this will help, you can rotate this. Boom, boom, boom. If we were making this, so we wanted to make this curved, which I'm not sure if the curve feature is part of Pro or not, but can find out. You can go into the shape and you can curve your words too. So if we're going to put this around the wine bottle, like right there, you can do that. But for now, we're going to put this back. So we're going to say effects and none. And so this is how you can fill in all that information. Now, this is not really a new wine launch, but it could be for somebody, you never know. Now, another thing that I like about the pro version of this is if I make one flyer, I kind of format stuff. So like I did a fashion show. I have a fashion show coming up for the Lady Elks that I volunteer for. So I made the flyer first, made sure that was solidified with all the content on the flyer, the date, the time, the donation, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I went over to my resize button, which is only available if you have Pro. And now I can change this from a flyer. I can change it into a business card. I can change it into a video. I can do a Facebook post with this or a Facebook cover. It just easily resizes the object for you. You still have to do a little playing around and moving of your elements, but it's easier. Otherwise, if you don't have the Pro version, then you go to File, make a copy, and then you can change it, or you can kind of like copy and paste all the elements into a new into the new size that you want. But most of us are probably doing flyers, and then we're probably doing a graphic to go right along with that flyer that we're sharing out to people so they can share it on their social media. Or, I mean, you can use a flyer on your social media too, on your post. Sometimes it might shrink it, but a lot of people say that, bigger is better when you're on your social media. You can use this for a reel. You can use this for anything too. You can pull it into your social media to do that as well. Jill was, I think, Manica likes the curve. Teal liked the circle. Oh, so we're talking about this color. Oh yeah, so it's not showing us the teal color when we go to photos because it's not part of the photo, but it is up here in the document color, so we could click that to go teal. But see, once we have it neon, that teal is a little bit different color on there. So I was just showing you this as a little just demonstration that then you're like, oh, I wanted it that color, but it's not that color. So how do I get it there? So then you have to either go into effects and change the intensity of your neon down a little bit, so it still kind of pops, but that's still kind of fun too. It just depends on what you and your hostess want, and your hostess will probably not care because they'll be like, oh, I just want to do a wine tasting. I also encourage you to put the word fundraiser somewhere on a flyer or anything that you are sharing with somebody, because when that word fundraiser is there, it automatically gives people the notion that, one, it's a fundraiser, so there's some nonprofit that's attached to it, and two, there's an expectation for them to purchase. So it's not just them coming to a wine tasting, because I don't know if you guys have had this or not with what you've done, but there's people that'll be like, hey, come to a wine tasting. I'm having a wine tasting, but the host doesn't follow through with that word fundraiser. So it's also in our host coaching to say, you're doing a wine tasting fundraiser because you're raising money for XYZ. It just happens to be part of a girls' night, happens to be part of why we're gathering, is so we can have fun and fundraise for something. So I'm just going to type this word in here. Wine tasting fundraiser. And then we can make that. Sometimes it's good to have, your different styles of text together a little bit differently, but we're going to make this one the same as what this is. So when you add a new element or a new word and you click up on the font, it'll tell you what fonts are happening in this document. So we're going to change this one to Higuin Elegant Serif. And we may not make that the same color. We may make it a different color so it kind of stands out, and we may spread out the word fundraiser a little bit. And we may not, because we were like, yeah, you know what? I don't know if that looks good. Might look better when we move all this stuff down though. So this is like playing with your invitation to be like, well, what looks good to me? What looks good to, somebody else? And I'm going to share this design so then you guys can take this and create your own from the same one that we're doing, because it's kind of fun. So what else I like to do, oh yeah, so Jill was saying you can fade the backgrounds too. Yeah, so good point, Jill. So when you have the background here, let's say it was a really busy background, but you wanted it there because you wanted something to pop. You can also, on the very top, when it's an editing image, crop it, flip it, information, animate. This means edit timing. So this is set up for, because we have animation on here, this is set up for how long the animation will flash. Over here, this little checkered flag is the transparency. So if you want to make this a little darker color, so that's the tone that's coming from here, you can change that. Now you see we have this color up here that we're like, why is there this color in this page? All of a sudden this background page, because remember we had a background color to begin with, and then we dragged and dropped this picture on here. So we're like, we don't want a background color, so let's just make it white. So you can go in and remove that background color. When the background color is this rainbow color, that means there's no color selected for the background. But now if we want to make it this color, we could. If we wanted to make it this color, you can go through and see like, oh, do I like any of these? And we're like, yeah, no, we don't like any of those. So we're going to take that off. And then you can still do the transparency is relatable to the picture. So you can see, you can put like subtleness behind the back there. So that's kind of fun, because then if you're going to make your words a little bigger on here, or you have more information that you want to highlight, and maybe that glass was like, oh, that glass is just too big. I just don't want that there. And this must have been made by somebody in England with the 07 in front of it and the little dots there. It's funny things that you notice from like, oh, you're like, oh yeah, wait, 7 p.m. That's not how we write that. We're gonna make this just a little bit bigger. So maybe you want this so it kind of sits in the front, sits to the side, but you just want something. You can understand kind of what that graphic is. Or let's say if you want to, wonder, sometimes when you have your photos named and not screenshot, they will pop up on your side over here. So let's say, I'm looking for some wine ones. Let's say we were using, this is our backdrop. So like, that's kind of a fun backdrop. There's a lot of objects on here. So this would be one that you would want to be like, oh, let's make it so it is a little more transparent versus the brightness. Because if this was really bright, you can't see anything. And then it's way too busy. Even if you were to change this into, white text, it still might be a little bit too busy for people. Then again, maybe it would work for your design or what you want. So it just kind of depends. But we're gonna change this back. And if you start doing something and then you're like, oh man, I really liked my design that I did. What did I just do? As long as you don't exit this design, up here at the top, there is an undo button. So you can just click undo, undo, undo. Like whoever created an undo button is like my hero. Besides undo and whoever invented cereal, because cereal is like amazing. And macaroni and cheese. Whoever invented macaroni and cheese, like that's also a way to my heart is macaroni and cheese. But yeah, so see, we just backed out of there, so we're back to this this flyer. I'm just gonna make this back up to the transparency that it was. Let's see, any other questions on here? Brenda has to go in 4 minutes. Thank you, Brenda. Good. So Shanna, she had to leave a little bit, but she said this has really increased her confidence. So that's what I wanted to do, is just to share with people like how you can do this. Don't overwhelm yourself with, oh my gosh, I need to do this, this, and this. I need to create this flyer from scratch. Don't overwhelm yourself. But if you want to, I find this fun and, exciting, because I like to play with all of this stuff. Another thing that you can do is you're like, I kind of like this flyer, but I saw another one that I liked too. So just scroll down past this one, click add page. On the left-hand side, there is design. So this is all of the flyers, real estate flyer templates, which that's a really good template to search and start with, real estate flyer templates, because there's always photos, there's text. When you see a real estate flyer, it's like big photos of the product, information, sometimes a picture of the real estate agent. They have a really good layout. So they're the ones that I use a lot for flyer designs. Is I'll just type real estate flyer, and then I'll come over here and I'll search like, oh, I kind of like this one. This one's really cute too for a wedding package. Weddings are another good one too, but these are all the different flyers that you can put, you can use as a template. This is one that I've used for a lot of fundraisers, which I can show you too, because it's like, gift, give back things that I send to schools. Again, this could be something you just have to figure out what you like and then adjust it. And I do say like things with a photo on it will garner more interest than just a plain no picture kind of thing. But if you wanted to do this grand opening party, let's say, and you wanted to put a picture of the wine in there, like the new wine that we're just launching, or it's a fashion store. So I do some stuff for a fashion store. So I may go over to Elements. It's a, like maybe you're doing a sip and shop someplace and they said, oh, can you make me a flyer? And you're like, yes, because I know how to use Canva. I'm going to. And then you're going to email me and say, Tracy, do you have a flyer that's already made? Can I have your template? And I'll say, sure. But then you can type in fashion on here. And if it's a photo, you could put a photo, you could drop a photo behind there. If it is a graphic, maybe you just want like a mannequin that you're gonna pop in there. So here's a graphic. Have a cute person, and you can just add little graphics to this. Play with them. I would say don't overdo it on the graphics. So you can see you're like, oh yeah, well maybe she wouldn't go. But if they have a logo, like their logo would go like up here in the corner. So like one of my clients is Sweet Rag. So I did all her her stuff. So I have all her information over here. So I would, probably pop her logo over here. Oops. And then move some of this information down. Yeah, so that's something that you could do too. And if this was her logo, see, this is her logo with the background on it, because it's the first one that she gave me before I redesigned it. Again, you can do edit image and remove the background on there. As I was also sharing for this one, so if you wanted to resize this, we could resize this into a Facebook post. Now I can copy and resize, or I can just resize this one. If you're going to keep this one because you want the flyer, then you want to say copy and resize, and it will automatically resize this. She wants to know if we can group uploads together in a file. Do you want to explain to me what you're talking about by that?
Sure. So like all the different photos, I'll just say photos of all the One Hope bottles, images, instead of having them all laid out on the side, like everything I've uploaded, can you group them together at all?
Yes. So that is what I am in the process of doing now. So
okay.
So I'll show you that. Let me finish with this little part first. So
thank you.
Yep. So you see how we just resized this into a Facebook post? It resizes your document and keeps all of your elements. It doesn't necessarily make it that it's perfect. So you do still have to go into, I'm going to delete this because it's Facebook. New wine launch. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger over here. This information, you still have to kind of like recreate some of the information. So you have, but you don't have to do as much as if you were just creating from scratch, because you would have to literally copy and paste all of this information over here. And for Facebook, we're going to make this, I'm just going to change the colors on this just to show you, like, okay, maybe we're going to change the color. But see, it did it with this one too. So it's kind of like, oh, now sometimes like this one, because this was set up for the 8.5 by 11 flyer, you'll say like, oh, that was off the edge. Well, this is just another design element that they added to this background to enhance that. So even if you're, again, liking like this color, like I always like to, oh, well, maybe I don't like these little things. Maybe I want to put in my own little swishes, or maybe I don't want any of that there. But again, you can go into elements and you're like, oh, you know, I like the earth tones, but what if it's gold? Like what, let's look for like a gold swish. And these are like technical terms, gold swish, gold sparkles. You know, there's a lot of different things in there. Let's just look for gold. I have some gold ones saved in another account, but see, like, oh, let's do like, maybe it's fun. So you want to do grand opening. Maybe this is what you want to stand out right here in the middle with this as well. Like there's just so many different designs, or you're like, oh, I like that little spot of gold. Now you really can't use this color gold for a font. It won't be sparkly like this, but there are there's some ways, like more advanced ways to kind of figure that out, how to make it pop like that. And then so you just go in and you play with your design to how you want it to show up for the Facebook post. So Jill was asking, can we group uploads together? So yes. So for instance, I have a lot of stuff over here in my upload folder, and I'm like, okay, I have too many of these. So I'm going to take all the ones from the school, and when you start to hover over them, you'll see this little black box pop up. If you click that box, you'll see down here at the bottom, it'll say how many is selected, move to folder, or trash them. I'm one of those people who I don't like to trash stuff because I'm like, I might need that again. And if you trash, so for instance, if I trash the picture that's in this background, then it would disappear on my design. So it just wouldn't be there in the future. So if you use that design again, it would just show a blank background, nothing there. So you can move these to a folder. So once you create folders, I can move this. I'm moving this to my Into the Woods folder because that's the play the kids are doing. So I'm going to put that in there and then say move to folder. And then it will move your items. It is good to go through, and if you want to sort them all out, I say if you're going to do that, start from the beginning. It's much easier to start with a system than it is to create a system after you've done this for 6 years, like myself. And literally, like I have so many folders, or I have so many things that I have not, like changed. Like, I mean, look, I could go back, like so much stuff back here. I have old QR codes for events and everything too that I should get rid of, but I was like trying to see I wonder what my first design was. I think I've come a long way in my designing too, but you can see all this stuff. And then over here to the side, Jill, so once you do have your items uploaded, they will appear over here to the side. So here's all my stuff for the school. Here's the teachers, the different things I do with high schools, individual wines. So I did put like my wines into a wine category, because that way it was like easier for me to find them, so I didn't have to search everywhere. I have my One Hope logos in a folder too. I should put them on my brand kit, but I actually don't use the One Hope logo as much as you would think, because if there's a wine bottle in the picture, it doesn't need to say One Hope on it. If there is, not everything you create has to have a One Hope logo on it, just so you know. You can create a quote post and it does not have anything to do with, it does not have to say One Hope on it. It could say your name on it. If it was your quote, put your name on it. If it's not your quote, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't have to say One Hope on it. So just so you know, or whatever company that you're with. These aren't logos. These are my backdrops that I created for a slideshow, a slide presentation. Also, if you're going to do anything with like just wine, even in elements, like just search the wine in elements. There's so many different options that you can find for wine elements and photos. So if you're like, oh, I need a picture of, you know, a wine because we're cheersing. Well, you can easily go in here and find wine and click this one for cheers. Add this to your page right here. You can also go over to the text. And this is where you can add text into your graphic. And if you scroll down here, you'll see that there's already some great font combinations that are already created. So you might want to use this as like a thank you post. And maybe you're going to use your, you know, find what you want. Maybe you're going to use this one. Probably wouldn't use this, but if I would probably go back in and crop my photo. Maybe make this so it's a little bit more centered. And then you can go in and change. And see, because this, I was editing these are grouped together. So I would go in and ungroup the group. So I could change, move these around independently because you saw how the darling moved up at the top. So maybe I'd say cheers. And I'm going to say to impact. And then I'm just going to reduce the font a little bit. And see what color really stands out there. I'd have to play with my colors on this for a little bit. But there you go. An easy way to create a thank you post even and put up to thank somebody in a Facebook group. Now, if you want to make this, another little thing that I do often too is I might take this word cheers, I might double it, and then I might just change the color and put this little layer right on top of it and just kind of smush it. So it looks like it's highlighted, but I didn't do anything with an effect. I just did it with my text. And change that right there. And it kind of gives it that little pop. And then you can just play with it to see, oh, which way do you like it? You know, maybe you like it this way better. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't really like that background now. Or maybe, like Jill says, we want to make this transparent. So it's a little bit more, you see the cheers pop more. So you see the power of what you can do within Canva to really create these and make them your own. You can also add a border on here if you want to be in elements and you want to type in border. You can find now sometimes with the borders, they're not quite as intuitive as you may want them to be. There is another graphic that is like a square, or let's say we want a gold border, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we pop in this border, okay, so this one will work. It's not the border I want for this, but you can see that has this middle piece, but you can see how that border kind of is moving away. Some of these are programmed to be a certain size, so they're not always sometimes going to work for necessarily what you want. It's one of these things within Canva that even in this group that I'm in, people are like, I don't understand why we can do this, but we can't do this easy thing. But you just have to find kind of the right border that you want to play with. So, whoops. I don't know what I just did there. Oh, well, because that was a picture and I made this bigger, it took over the picture spot. So I was like, oh, I didn't want that. We're going to take this out of there too. But you can see you can add different borders in there. You can add a fun little border like this one. You know, it's just fun to play around to see what is all there. Oh, and Lynn wanted to know how I duplicated the cheers. So when you create your first text, so this was the first cheers that I created. When you click on that word, you click the duplicate button, and then the next word duplicates. If you want it the same color, you can keep it the same color. If you wanted to make it look blurry like that, or maybe we want to do another color there, so we can say cheers, cheers, and then there's another cheers. So let's put that one maybe behind that too. Or maybe we move that one to the front. So we have like 3 layers of cheers. So that's also how you can like layer different words, how you see different words that are layered and stuff. That doesn't always happen just with like a font that you pick and put in there. Sometimes that's the extra elements that you have to put in. But again, keep it simple when you're starting. Find what template that you want to do, what you're going to focus on. Is this a Facebook post? Is this an Instagram post? If you already have one up, you can click design and search design templates over here. I highly recommend that you all take photos of yourself. And even if it's a wine quote that's over here, that you can still have your photo next to it. So people are engaging, connecting you and the brand, or you and what you're saying. Or let's say it was International Dog Day, put a picture of your dog on there. You know, once you click these templates, then you can change however you want. A lot of these things will say a really great site down here, and make sure you change that so it doesn't say that, because change it to yourself or to your Instagram name, so maybe people will see you. And then so this is the one with a photo on it, so you can go to your uploads, and let's say we want to put your photo over here. You could upload a photo of yourself. And let's say this is me. Well, it is me. Then you can drag and drop your photo in here. Oh, I think I dragged and dropped it too fast. Hold on. Maybe it's not set up for a photo element. Hold on. Sometimes you have to go in and be like, wait, how is this photo set up? Oh, this is. So this is a whole picture of her in the back, and with this little splash mark there to highlight. So if I wanted to put my photo in there, I could just align it and drag myself. Oh, that's really big of me. Over here to fit the whole back. And now I'm the person in the back, and I can move these elements for what I need. If it is, there's a lot of them that are already created with like drag and drop. So let's do this one. So let's say you have a new team member and you're going to welcome them to the team. This is a really good one to use. You're going to find their picture. Let's say this is Angela. Angela will actually be joining our wine team in March. So I'm going to drag and drop her in here. This is just her photo that I took off of her Facebook page. If you have a team logo, you may want to put that up here. If you don't, just delete that information. You may or may not want that other gradient of color right there. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. Type their name. And then arrange their name. Oop. And then it's always good too if you're doing my team name is Teams in It to Win It. Maybe we should change that, David. What do you think? You tell me. I go back and forth with that every once in a while. We want to change these elements. You want to change this font because you're like, oh, I don't like this font. It's overused. Let's find something else that's kind of fun. You know, you can change it to whatever you want. Again, anything that has the little crown next to it is something that is on the pro plan only. But you can see there are a lot of fonts and trendy fonts. Like this is a really trendy font right now that you don't need to have the pro plan to have. You want to find fonts that kind of match each other or don't match to a certain extent too, because sometimes opposites look good together, just not too like crazy. But you can design something like that. You know, I mean, that's pretty quick and easy, and that took how many seconds? Not that many. So then if you add another page, so a lot of times what I do is when I start creating her, I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about this wine. I want to talk about this wine. I want to talk about this. I may just create a Facebook post and just keep on adding a page and going up to see what other designs I like. And if there's designs that you like maybe save them in a folder, and up here where this says watercolor wine tasting flyer, change this to what this is. So this might be welcome posts. So this way, when you open your folder, your Canva folder, you can actually see and search for welcome posts. So maybe there's something else over here. Oh, so let's say this is really fun. A lot of people are doing this now too. So this is this girl. And she's just, it's herself that's there, but she has her background removed. So a lot of times it's fun just to take your photo up against, it doesn't have to be a complete white wall, but it should be like a solid wall in the back. So then you can remove your background. But you could also do this. Let's see if it works with my other folder that I have on my background, or with my picture that I took here. So let's see if, and this is just a selfie of me. My lighting just happened to be good that day because I'm just impressed with my lighting. It looks good on portrait mode on my phone. So whether you have Samsung or an iPhone, use your phone features to your advantage. Even when taking pictures of wine or anything too, put it on portrait mode. It just makes a huge difference. It blurs the background. It pops out the person in the front. For this, I'm going to edit the image and see if it will remove my background. And then big fonts like this in different colors. I mean, that pretty much, this doesn't have a apostrophe in it. That also captures people's attention. If you have a certain brand colors that you want to use, a color scheme, maybe you want to use green for the month of March. Maybe in April, you're going to turn it to soft pink. Do whatever you want to do to brand yourself. Oh, but look at that. See, now there's me. Just me standing here with a wine glass that looks cracked. It really does look like it's broken. So maybe I wouldn't want to keep the wine glass in there. I'd probably maybe edit that out. Maybe I just put, now if I wanted to edit me out of there, actually what I could do in here is go here. If I go to edit image, and if I go to background remover, oh, it's already done my background. But if I want to click restore, I could go in and paint in that wine glass now, because I would be like, oh, I want that to be there. Okay, so I'm going to go into restore. So when you go into restore, you can change your brush size. So if it's something really little, like I'm going to do this with photos from the kids today because they held up their honor roll things. I'm going to go in and cross their name off very slightly in there, but that way it's easy. I can get it done. So this will change your brush size, which is how big this little circle is, but I want to make it a little smaller. So you can see we want to draw in that wine glass. I don't ever really do this because, oh, but look at that wine glass. It looks funny, huh? And it might not do it depending on how the background was on there. Oh, it's probably not going to do it. Actually, it looks like a funky martini glass now. I could erase this little part of it. Oops. See, that's why you don't want the brush stroke too big. Oops. Oh, with that one, you can't do that. But you can see that concept on what that's about. I didn't save it, so I didn't delete it, but that does look like it's a pretty nice size martini there. But just fun, super fun things to do. So this is like when people are pointing, when people are like doing different things like that in a picture, this is something fun to do as well. Does anybody else have any questions? I know we've been here for a little while. I hope this was very helpful. And is there anything else that you would like me to go over quickly with you? I can.
Hi, Tracy. I'm Monica. I wanted to know, you mentioned something in the beginning about applications for teachers and you said you would put that somewhere. Will that be, where will that be?
Yeah, I will drop it down on the I'll put it back in the Facebook chat if you want, Monica.
Okay, yeah, this way we can have it afterwards, because
Yeah, I'll just pop it on there because that way other people, I know there's a lot of teachers in the group too. So
yeah, thank you.
yeah. Let's see here. So oh yes, Heidi, there are probably a lot of cute margarita glasses for us to use and stuff. That would be super cool. Let's see. Michelle, do you want to just tell me what your questions are? I think you had two. Was it you?
Yeah, my question is how you made a flyer. How do you share it to the CE imaging page now so anybody else can go ahead and use it and edit it?
Perfect. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I totally forgot about that. That is like one of the most important things. Now you made your design. Now what do you do with it, right? So you'll see at the top of your page, this was the home page. Every time you open a new flyer, there's a new tab that's open in Canva. So we're going to go back to that wine tasting flyer. So we're just going to call this a wine tasting flyer. So what we're going to do is if you want to share it, you click the share button. These settings are on your phone too. Sometimes they're a little more tricky to find on your phone and exactly how you're going to download. Just play with them a little bit. If you're on your phone, I like to open it if I'm going to share the template. Because if you download it, it downloads the whole thing. So if you're going to share this with anybody and you want to share it on the CE image sharing page, you're going to click template link. And then you're going to copy this. And then you're going to go to the Facebook page. And then you would share that information on Facebook. You would copy and paste it. Look, Martha's into wine now too. Her and Snoop Dogg. Okay, this just takes a long time to pull up. Yeah, so when you go in here, when you're sharing anything in CE image sharing group too, it's also good to say what it is that you're sharing, and be kind of specific. So if you're sharing a photo and it just has Chardonnay in it, say Chardonnay photo, because when you put those words in there, that helps when people use the little search feature, which is right here, to find something. So you could say like wine tasting template. Anything and everything that's posted in the CE image sharing page, if it's posted here, then you are able to utilize it. If you just post the design link, it'll pop up a copy of this design and it'll say, oh, here's what it is. So it's kind of great because it gives you a great little preview of it. So this will be your little homework, is to go in here and find this wine tasting template and create one, create a flyer, and then drop your flyer, drop your design in here. And drop your designs below.
Okay, I have another question.
Yep.
Flyer that I make, anything that I make in Canva, can everybody see it or can I block it so nobody can see what I'm making?
You mean in Canva? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think, oh yeah. I don't think that it is available for the general public to see unless you share it publicly. See right here, link sharing access. Oh, that's anyone with the link could do that. But I don't think that you're able to just like look at all my designs that I created. That's a good question, Michelle. Let me figure that out. Because I don't have all mine published. Also, if you're going to share, so now that you created this flyer, now you're like, okay, now what do I do? How do I download it? That's how you do a template link if you're going to template it and share it with people. And that's only if you want someone else to use that design. If you're going to download it, so you're going to share it on social, MP4 means that there's animation in it. So you want that to be animated. So then you want to download it as an MP4 video. If it's a JPEG, it's just a photo. So your animations won't play with that. But if you're just going to do a photo on Facebook or maybe Instagram, you can download it as a JPEG. The size quality will also be the file size. So the larger it is, the better. But for social, you can just keep it at small. That's fine, the size. If you're going to do something and you were going to print a t-shirt or make this little wine bag like I did, then I have my file size bigger so I can export it to the company so it's not pixely. But pretty much a JPEG, you can keep it small. That's fine for social. A PNG, that's what you would do if you're like exporting it like I did to, create something on a bag or something like that. It's also a more high quality photo. It's also a photo that can have the background removed, a transparent background. So if you created something, for instance, I created the I love wine with these little hearts on it. I made this as a transparent background. So there is no background. So I don't have to remove the background if I add that into another design. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. And then you choose your pages. So you only want maybe page 1. So deselect this and then choose page 1. And then you can download it. And when you download it, you can save it to your phone or whatever device you're changing it to. A PDF standard, that's just a PDF. It's a flyer. It opens up in, so people can read it. That's pretty easy. You guys, nobody will probably really use any of this. You can create a GIF if you want. So that would be kind of fun. I have not played with that yet on here. An MP4 video is if you have animations in there and you want to save it as animated, you can do that. You can also print directly from here. So if you create a business card, I know a lot of people are like, oh, business cards, I need a business card. There are some that, One Hope had created that are on Vistaprint. But if you go in here and look, there is a whole lot of business cards too. And again, your business card, I don't know, do you guys all use business cards? Do you hand them out? No, maybe. I personally like business cards because everything is so automated and so email heavy that if I have a business card, which I don't have any sitting on my desk because I use them all. Oh, I file them. Oh, I have them right here actually. I actually have a whole stack of them from other people, but that way I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Ma's Amour and this boutique. Oh, which actually is interesting. I need a boutique person. So that was totally random that I pulled this today because I actually do need a boutique person for my fashion show. So I'm going to contact her. That was just like brilliant. Things happen for a reason, people. Things happen for a reason. But let's say you have a business card. So there's you can type business card in here. There are a million different templates. And then I also have business cards that I created with like a bunch of our, designs and stuff on them too. So, and those are on the CE image sharing page. But again, if you go in here and there's templates and you can see them all, you can figure out which one you like, create it. There's also an option that you can print from Canva. I've never printed directly from Canva to my local printer, but I do know other people that have. So that's an option. I always design in here and then I just upload it to staples.com and have my stuff printed. And I think I get like 500 business cards for like $25 or something. So it's not that much. It's pretty good. But again, anything and everything that you want to create within Canva is literally right here at your fingertips. You can keep it easy. You can add elements. You can make it as hard or as complicated as you want. It just really depends on what it is that you're looking for and how you want to share your information with people and what information you're sharing.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, David.
Can you share your screen again and show people how to make a copy so that they don't mess up the original?
But if they share the template link,
It won't mess up the
it won't
original.
mess up the original.
Okay.
So, yes. So there's some past stuff. So if you create a design and you go into share it. So here, I'll pop in there again. And you go into, oops, I gotta go into one of my designs. Share it. There's two different ways that you can share. You can share it and somebody might want to edit it. But if it says edit this template, just know if it says the word edit, that means that whatever changes you make changes the whole entire document.
Make a
So-
copy.
Yeah. So you want to make a copy. However, you really don't want to do that. So I'm going to go into, let me go into something that I'd want to share with you guys. Okay. So I'm going to go into this wedding post. Which is taking a long time. So this says copy of wedding flyer because I copied it from some place, but I don't know if I posted this in my social or not the other day. I think I might have. This is also something that's in the CE image sharing page, is this under weddings. So if you go look for a wedding template, but if I was to click share and I didn't choose and I just did copy link, and it's link shared publicly. So anyone with the link, or only me. So anyone with the link can view, can comment, or can edit. So if this is, anybody can edit, and then you copy this link and somebody else opens this, copy it. I'm actually gonna send this to you, David, and then you can open it on your screen and it'll actually show me that you're in there. So like David and I could, if you wanted to, and you had a team member you were working with that you trust on how to use designs, like when David opens this, it will pop up that David's in this design with me. Maybe might be an older one, but it could see it. Otherwise, sometimes people go in and they share this edit link, and then literally if somebody changes the name, changes the stuff, they delete this, then that's gone for everybody. And so the next person that opens it doesn't have that same flyer. So whenever you're going to share something that somebody else can edit, please use a template link. And yes, Heidi, it is a freaking nightmare. And both you and I have done that a lot. There's a lot of people. So back in the day, I mean, this is a new feature of Canva, probably within the last year and a half, I think, that they rolled out the template link. Otherwise, it was, yeah, template link is what you need to share. Otherwise, then they're copying it and then they're editing it and they're not making a copy of it. So we used to have to put a disclaimer that says, please make a copy of this before you edit this because it'll change for everybody. So that's kind of how that went. So if you share the template link, that is what you need. Share the template link. And if you guys want this, I can, yeah, and nobody reads. Yeah, absolutely right. Nobody ever reads. But that's also a really good point. Nobody reads. So less is more. What can you say in 10 words or less on a post? I mean, if there's ever a good thing that came from Twitter, it was probably when they first launched, 140 characters or less, get your point across. And that's exactly the mindset of people that are reading your post. You have 2 seconds to engage with that person on a post. 2 seconds. It's not 5, it's not 10. You want them to watch your reels longer, but what is your hook at the beginning? What is it to be like, you know, hey, does your wine make an impact? Or this wine just funded pet adoptions, you know, something that's going to get them to be like, wait, what? Who did that? How? You know, I'm going to share this template link with everybody who's in the chat right now. So in case you want this one, there you go. The wedding flyer. But yeah, so just think too, when you're posting on your socials too, or anything that you're doing, the less words, the better. Even when you're sending a letter or information to a host, succinct. Like we're so excited. We know that they want to host, but make it short and simple. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Boom, boom, boom. Checklist, easy breezy. Make it simple, because then more people are about to engage with you. Same with having people join our team. Like it would be great too if everybody did a, hey, join my team post. But actually, before you do a join my team, share with people why they would want to join your team. What has One Hope done for you? What has what has been the benefits of One Hope for you, and why would somebody want to do that? They have to be related to you, relatable, not related like blood related, you know what I mean? Relatable. Kristen, you have a question, and then Michelle, you have another one too. You're muted, Kristen.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I've been multitasking.
Yeah.
But I am doing I'm needing to make some new business cards. And what is the cheapest and most affordable way to do them? Because I've tried to make them at home. They look horrible.
Yeah.
They look bad. And I'm on Vistaprint right now, and there's like 100 for $34.
Do you have a Staples by you?
I think so, but I need them by like this weekend.
Well, Staples, typically my Staples prints within 24 hours.
Do they? Okay.
So I
Okay.
like Staples just because, one, it is right up the street. I can place an order today by 2. It's normally, if you place it, you have to check with your Staples, but if you place it, I do it online.
Okay.
I just upload my design on there. But plus at staples.com, when you go to their print center, you can design a business card right on their site too. So it's like, check out Staples.
How much are they?
I think it's like $25 for 500 of them.
You said 24 for 500?
Yeah. They're really economical. That's where I get all mine printed all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So check out Staples. It's like Staples Print and Copy or something like that it's called.
Okay. And they're good quality?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no problem with any of my stuff. They're good. So, and I do, do the 2-sided cards. Don't waste white space. Like, you don't want just
What do you put on the back?
I have a whole bunch of different things. So let me show you. Let me pop back into Canva again.
Sorry, I was multitasking.
No, you're okay. It's funny. So Heidi's like, yeah, use Tracy's template. She's made some good ones, because I'm all about us, branding ourselves. Let me see what I did for business cards. I think I had it open, but business card. I'll drop you down this link too.
Okay.
And these are already like formatted for business cards. So all you have to do is change your information on the template and then upload it into Staples Print and Copy, or maybe an Office Depot or whatever business supply stores right by you.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 main ones. I think everyone else is maybe out of business, but
Yeah, I don't have a Staples near me. All we have is Office Depot.
perfect. They'll do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see down here at the bottom, I have different layouts. I also like my picture on the card. Not because I like my picture, but it also creates recognition. So
Okay.
again, kind of back to that thought process of a real estate agent. Like,
Yeah.
a real estate agent never gives out their card without having their picture or their information on it or something, right, to tag them.
Okay.
So this is where you can drop your picture in here. So this is if it was a horizontal card. Let me see, do I have a business card of mine right here? I do. So the last one I did was during the holiday season. So before we got good pictures of this Labels of Wine, I just kind of created my own. Let me see, do I have this one in here? Oh yeah, so this is a better picture now of that, but you can change any of this information around with like your template. Oh, that was me. So, have something that if it's flipped over on one side that somebody's like, oh, what does that mean? Like, why would I want to flip over the card to read what's on the other side? That's kind of the, mentality of a business card. Sure, it has your information, but what else could be on that card.
Yeah.
I tried to target, like holiday time, like, so I created this one because this is what I was handing out to be like, hey, share wine, give hope, like
I
custom.
love this one right here with your shimmer bottles.
Yeah, this one's cute. However, well, we don't have the gold shimmer bottle right now, just in case
Okay.
anybody doesn't know that, but it'll be available in May. But sometimes shimmer bottles are like, or maybe May. Sometimes shimmer bottles are a longer process too, like, because it
Okay.
gets people thinking about them. So yeah, use something like this too. And this is my
Yeah.
QR code to shop. But maybe use this on one side and then you can use like this on the other side, or you can choose what you want. You can even, if there's something else that you want, click
Yeah, I'm
and
trying to figure out
upload it like a current picture. I don't know if there's a different picture of something that you may want, but that's an easy kind of thing. Well, I say easy because I do this all the time. You may not. But maybe it's like this picture. You want to make sure whatever picture it is that you use, that it's wines that we currently have.
Okay.
Like maybe you don't want the whole bathtub there, but we can like,
Okay.
or maybe you do want it, put something like that. Something that's gonna draw the attention, even like a statement, like or a quote, because people like to pick up stuff. So if it was sitting down and it said, wine makes you wonderful, or blah blah blah. Oh, and if you look in the chat, Heidi dropped hers in the chat too. Yes, and that's a great idea. So I do the same thing too. So I just take a picture of my card and I have it saved under my favorites. Like Heidi's saying too, I have it saved under my favorites so I can text it to them. So at least people have it, my information. If I don't have a physical card, I can at least create one and text it to somebody. Or I could print this out and I can make this a little bit bigger and I could have it sitting in a picture frame at an event. There's just so many things that you can do. Like some people don't do physical cards because they get other people's information. I think Jess does that a lot. Like she doesn't get cards, she just gets their information so she can send them her information, which is great. I'm much more of I'm old school, because that's just how I grew up, with paper and pen. So it's like, all right, I just like to have that here. Plus, like today, like I found this vendor that I totally forgot that I had. If she was in my phone and I didn't categorize her correctly under like a boutique, I would have never remembered who this person was. So I do have a lot of business cards, but I do go through them every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, who's that? Yeah, who's that? Or, oh, they unsubscribed from me, so I'm going to throw their card away, or whatever it may be,
Yeah, I was actually doing that as I was listening to the training, and I'm never sure on what to say in emails when people give me their business cards, because it's always most of them just do emails, but
yeah, well, so David and I both use another program called Flowdesk that we use for our email stuff. So we could do a whole Flowdesk like conversation and training on that. It's a whole other thing, but it's good to know Canva first before you do anything else with email marketing, because you can create your designs in Canva that will help you in an email marketing program. Or if you're just starting out, you don't need an email marketing program. You can just, simply send stuff from your personal or your business Gmail account or whatever you use for Gmail and for marketing. So you could do that too. Why I see this up, I'm going to share something because I just noticed something in my wine folder that I wanted to say. Michelle, what was your other question? Did I answer your other one for you?
So you and David confused me just a little bit with the copying and making sure that you don't edit the original. So I'm going to make a flyer. I find one of them on the template that I want to use, and I start changing it, and I change everything that I want it to reflect what I need. What is my next step then, so I don't change the original?
So if you're creating it from scratch and you use either a template through Canva, just a one of the designs or you used a template from somebody else,
Yeah.
you're fine. As long as it says, edit this template. Or use this template. Let me go into a template so I can show you the exact. We're gonna do this flyer portrait. I always go so slow right here. Oh, and now I went into something. Sorry, I just created a blank one. Let me go into template. Sorry. So Kristen, I dropped down that Canva design into the chat. So for the business
Thank you.
cards, if anybody wants that, yeah. They're also on CE image sharing page, but just since we're here. Hi Donna, I see you over there. And hi Lynn, and hi Kasana, and May, and Heidi. I don't know who else is on now. I know we've been on for a while. So, okay, so we're gonna go into we're just gonna say we're gonna do this one, a gaming logo. So if it's a template I share, David shares, anybody you use something on here, when it says customize this template, it means it's you customize it, it is exclusively yours. You're not changing anybody else's design, you're creating something for yourself.
Okay.
So you don't have to do anything. So you can just customize it, and then you can save it, and then you can share it. You can download it as your JPEG or your files that you want to share.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I also suggest sometimes for so a lot of the stuff too that sometimes OneHope puts out is a PDF and it's not a JPEG. So I have a Mac, so I bring stuff, I can do the PDF, I can bring it into my previewer and I can save it as a JPEG. And then I upload it in here. I'm going to resize this because it's not what I wanted. I want to do oh, I thought I had it handy. So I'm going to do a letterhead. And I just want to resize this. Okay. I'm actually going to get rid of this stuff because I'm just going to add a page because I don't need this. Oh, what happened? So what I like to do too is because again, you're all about sharing you don't need to share, it already has like OneHope on it. So if you're doing a wine club photo or anything with like wine club or anything that has OneHope on it, there's another thing that I use that's called Word Swag to easily just add your name and your information onto anything that you're sharing. So if it gets shared forward, that means that if someone reshares your post or sends us to a friend, it'll have your information on the actual photo. It's not, they might not share the whole entire post. So that's really good to do. And again, you can do that in you're editing stuff on your phone, even you're like opening up Facebook and putting stuff on there, opening up whatever it may be, it'll be on. Oh, where did that wine club thing go? I just had it up here. So I also like to take the here we go, the wine club information. So this is not the current one, but I changed it into a JPEG, and I'll probably do this and put it on the CE image sharing page so you guys have it. And this is what I like to add on here, but I also like to put my name and information on here. So they have it. So even if or put your QR code, if you've never made a QR code, there's a couple different ways to do that. You can do one within Canva. You can also find your link and go to flowcode.com and make a QR code. And then when you have your QR code, you can easily, which I don't have any in here right now. I probably do, but you can bring it into your, let's just say this music bar was my QR code. It's not, but you can bring it in here. So you can be like, oh, and here's scan my QR code and put that wording down there. And again, I'll show you how to do that too, but just something else. So when you're creating a sign, sometimes you might want to do one step further and put your QR code so people can scan it and get information from you. So, Michelle, did you have another question? Nope. Good. Okay. So I know that was a lot of information today. We've been on this call for now 2 hours. As you can see, thank you for staying on here too. Like, as you can see, like there's a lot of things to explore, to play with. I encourage you just to jump in and play with it. There are no wrongs. There are no wrongs. You can do no wrong. You're going to create stuff that you like, and you're going to be like, I like it. And then you're gonna be like, I know how I can do this differently. Or like, how does that work? Because, you know, for me, as a person who does this all the time, I know different elements and moving them around. I just wanted to share like the basics with you of how to get in, how to get comfortable, to lean into the templates. Like, you don't have to start with a blank page, lean in with the templates. OneHope does provide a lot of great photos, like download all their photos, go to Instagram, go there, you know, but also, you know, create your own. Like, use your camera, create your own photos, take pictures of you at events, you wine tasting, you need to be part of your story, and you're showing what you do. Heidi does a great job of that too. Like, she'll be out at her event, she has pictures. She, you know, is always taking pictures, sharing some stuff too, but because it's about you and your personality. Because otherwise people will just buy from OneHope, like they don't have a connection to you. So show your personality in the pictures. Like, you know, Michelle, David, and I were on a Zoom the other night, and you know, it was really fun. I don't think I shared those pictures with us though, but it was like, it was all really fun. It's like, oh my gosh, we should have videoed that, because that was just super fun. They're laughing because they both woke up with headaches. I'm just going to tell you. But it was fun. Yeah. But we had a fun time. But stuff like that too, like, you know, take pictures and share pictures of moments. Not everything has to be a perfectly choreographed graphic, because you are not OneHope. That OneHope has that on their site. So, and don't just reshare their stuff either, because then you're just leading people back to them, which isn't a bad thing. But then how do you know that person's not buying from them and you want them to buy from you? So just, you have to think that mentality too when we're thinking of direct sales. You know, and OneHope has come a long way in what they do too, that we can search for a CE. They ask them when they check out. But again, the wine space and us being direct to consumer is so new. People don't understand what we do. They don't. Like, I have friends, and my team hears this a lot. I have friends that, you know, I've been doing this for 8.5 years now. Thanks, Heidi. And there's still people that are like, what is it that you do? Oh, really? Oh, I can get custom wine labels from you. Oh, I can customize that. And it's like, yeah, you know, so people don't know. So always, like, every couple weeks, like, reintroduce yourself, like, tell people who you are, tell people what you do, tell people all that stuff. Cause, you know, and by the word tell, I mean share. Like, don't be like, I do this, like, you know, share. And again, it doesn't have to be graphically, you don't have to spend a ton of time on graphics if you want to. Sure. If you don't, no worries. You know, a picture of you is going to go way farther. A picture of you and your dog is going to go way farther than a picture of a bottle of wine from something that OneHope has created, or you created with that. So plus, if everybody used the same image of this bottle, then it also looks like, oh, we're all just like little robots that are out there too. And if everybody uses the same language and the same, and you don't tweak it, if you see somebody's post and it's good, there is, you know, good ideas to do that, but tweak the language, make it yours. Because what happens is all of these programs are also looking for spam, and they're also like, they're like, oh, wow, all of a sudden 10,000 people just posted the same photo and just posted the exact same verbiage on, you know, 10,000 different accounts. Something's going on. You're going to get shut down. So make it your own. People connect with you, and people connect, you know you, like you, and trust you. And, you know, any social media person that you talk to, any marketing person that you talk to, that's the first thing that they're going to say is people need to know you, like you, and trust you before they buy from you.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Kristen.
Responding to social media and all that. I have 2 parties going on right now, and there is nothing going on in Facebook land. It is crazy how, because the host has invited people, but they won't even like, I don't know, she's got the wine, but she doesn't want to do a tasting on virtually. She just wants to share the link and pictures, but nobody ever has responded to doing the party. So it's kind of like, we're not sure what to do.
So that is a very good question. And that happens a lot with Facebook parties.
Yeah.
So for instance, I also am a rep with a jewelry company. So I just did a Facebook party with the jewelry company, and my hostess did not realize. She was like, oh, well, I thought this was your party. And I'm like, no, it's your party. Like, I'm helping you fundraise for your cause. So I need you to engage. So is your hostess engaging in the posts?
No. I've only made 1 post because I don't want to put any more effort into it if she is not putting any effort into it. You know what I mean?
So yes and no. However, put the effort in because you don't know who's going to see the post. So if it's in a
There's
Facebook,
only 2 people in it. It's me and her.
oh, that's it. So there's nobody in the group yet?
No.
Oh, well then, yeah.
She
has
sent
to-
people links, and some of them aren't on Facebook. I'm like, well, I can't help anybody if I don't have any way to contact.
Yeah. So that goes back to like the host coaching and being like, okay, you have to share with the people like who it's your party.
Yeah.
How do you want it to go? What are you fundraising for? Let's throw
Yeah.
in some engagement posts, some statistics from I always like to lead with impact. So if it is, if you're doing it for a dog shelter, like I have one going for a dog shelter right now, and it's like, all right, what would $500 do for you? Like, what would that do? And like, let's link it back and then do some wine math to be like, oh, okay, so for that would be us selling XYZ number of cases or half cases to get to that point. And kind of like spur that conversation along with people too.
Yeah, I have a Humane Society post out or like a link open because I'm helping with the Humane Society Gala this coming weekend. And we've only had 2 orders.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard because people don't know the wine. They don't know the wine brand. So it's dropping down information in the Facebook groups that really connect with people. If you want, I'm doing something online right now
Yeah, I would love help.
in a group called Small Business Deals and something else or another, and I can share. So what happens in that group though, just so you know, is that I pay to be a vendor in this group.
Okay.
But for me, it's like I'm sharing the information. So I will friend me on Facebook.
Yeah, I friend you, and I also have a page, and I'm just not. I don't know. I need help. I'll friend you.
So Facebook groups are the way to go. Facebook pages are hard unless you're a big business. Like One Hope probably has like 100,000 people following their page, but that's because all of us.
Or should I just
share
through
One
the
Hope
page
Wine,
and
then people are like, oh, let's go to One Hope Wine and like let's follow them and follow their Instagram as well as ours. But our people are following both. If you look, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's my friend, but they're following One Hope, and maybe.
Okay. So should I just scratch that page and just start fresh?
You can just keep the page. It's fine.
Okay.
Pages are good if you're going to do any advertising or linking back, which you don't have to advertise. Don't advertise. I know you probably see a lot of cause entrepreneurs advertising on Facebook. You can if you want. You don't have to. That's a whole other animal. Facebook groups are good to have like a VIP group that you can engage people in your VIP group.
Okay. All right.
They send here. Another good thing about a group is that if anybody's in the group, if they have their notifications on, which when they join a group, all their notifications are on. So anytime somebody posts in there, they will get a notification that something's happening.
I'll have to do that. And like I said, we'll chat later on, but I've had I was still on dot before. So, it was just too much. And so I'm trying to simplify.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why it's like, so I have like a VIP page where I do wine and jewelry. And then in my groups too, like I do wine and or jewelry because I don't know, with Stella and Dot, but like the jewelry, like we have a 50%.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore.
Yeah. So, cause it's like, why would I not? Because there's some people that are like wine and there's some people that like jewelry. So I'm like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
But also in the Facebook group that I can add you guys to, let me see if I can find it. I'll drop the link in here. So what I'm doing in there is, one, I paid to be a vendor in that group. Two, the people that are commenting, probably 90% of them are other vendors that paid in there because we're all helping and supporting each other by asking questions, by asking engaging questions. We're not always just saying like, oh my God, this is great. I like this. You know, it's a really good way. And that's what your host should do in their groups as well, is they're hosting, so they need to be the face of what is happening. So the one I was doing for a fashion show a couple weeks ago, it was actually more jewelry focused, but she actually does wine with me too. So she made these really cool custom bottles this year. I should did them last year too, but we did them this year too. And she charged a sponsorship way more money this year. So they got way more money for the wine, which is awesome, to be the wine sponsor. So you guys will see those bottles pretty soon when I get my copies in the mail. But you know, she wasn't necessarily engaging in the Facebook group. And if she would have engaged more, and when she invited the people, would have did a Facebook Messenger chat, or even message them to be like, hey, this is going on, because if you're not friends with those people, they're not going to see your messages. So that's another thing too. Like, the messages are good, but you're not friends with them, so they're not going to see them. So, and maybe invite a friend or two to the group to be like, hey, can you help me out in this group, and like share information. Now I only say like to ask leading questions in the group, to, you know, because that way too, then the group it's seen more. What's not a good thing to do is that if you are a cause entrepreneur and you're running, and I see this a lot, so if anybody's watching this and you don't like this, I'm sorry, but I'm going to call it out. If you are a cause entrepreneur and you're running an ad to say, hey, join my team, and your team leader and your other team members are like, oh, send me information. Oh, send me information. Don't do that. Just say, hey, I love being a cause entrepreneur, and this is why. Share why. Don't lead people down a path of like, because if it's me and I see people doing that and I click and I look at someone's name and I'm like, well, they're already a rep. Well, they're already a rep. They're already a rep. Why are they trying to fake me out like they're not reps? Like that's just, to me, I'm just like, that's a cheesy direct sales thing that people are taught to do. Don't do that. Don't be cheesy direct sales. Just be like, hey, you know what? I like this because I get to fundraise for this thing. Or, hey, we raised, you know, $300 for my son's hockey team. Doing a wine fundraiser. Like, you don't have to say that you're a cause entrepreneur, but lead with what you do and model what it is that you do that you want others to do.
I have one question. When I go on live, like on Facebook or whatever, and it has all these views, I can't see who's viewed it. Can you like, how do I do that in settings? I can see who's like reacted to it.
Yeah,
or
you
commented.
can't see who's viewed it. It won't show
Okay.
you.
It
Yeah.
won't show you. Okay.
Going live in your Facebook groups is a good thing to do too, because it causes people, it gives them a notice that says, hey, Kristen's going live, or hey, Tracy's going live. So it sends a notice. Also have your host go live. I like to do, like we did a live Zoom. So I pay for Zoom, obviously, because we've been on here for almost 2.5 hours now. So maybe I'll split this up when I edit it. I don't know. But I can do Zoom to Facebook, and I can do Zoom to like YouTube and stuff. So I do Zoom to the Facebook. So I had my host come on my Zoom with me. So we could sit and chat like this, and other people if they wanted to. I mean, you could even do like a wine tasting and have everybody have the wine in different areas and talk about it. And you know, say what they like about the wine and have them on a Zoom. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. even if people are like, that's what we did like during the whole pandemic, like people would just jump on Zoom and we'd have Zoom wine tastings. Same thing, same concept. Even for, like you can drink some wine, you can talk about your stuff. What is really impactful is when the host and or the person who knows the information about the Humane Society, about the cause, is actually speaking to why it is important and how just an everyday purchase of wine, of jewelry, of changing their Ralph's Club card, if it's Ralph's Club or whatever is in your local market, how that money is really impactful, especially now that Amazon Smile has gone away, which a lot of nonprofits promoted. Whether or not their benefit was good, some of them probably good if it was a bigger organization and they had a lot of people linked. But the smaller mom and pop organizations, I'm almost guaranteeing you can make more money with wine in 1 month than they did with Amazon Smile in 3 to 6 months. So
Yeah.
it's just getting that into that mentality of being like, hey, this is how we have to approach it. And same with your host. It's like, it's hard, especially I have another fundraiser going right now. And I was like, all right, you have to be engaged with these people too. I just can't do it all because I don't know them, know me. So to me, I'm the salesperson, even though I'm like, hey, here's my dog. I'm a dog person. We're raising money for pets. Like who's gonna, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're like,
I have an online multi-vendor party with like a Zaya rep and a 31 rep. And the Zaya lady is also, she opened a link for her friend's son who is dealing with cancer. And so there's only one order in there. So we only have $13 and she's invited some friends, but it's like, if we don't do something virtual and have like people see things or do a virtual tasting, we're not going to really get anything.
Yeah, so definitely and for you in the multi-vendor group. So for instance, I sent you guys the Facebook group that I'm in, which is multi-vendors. I'm gonna go in there live probably this afternoon. So I could be like, if there's one thing to like show pictures of the wine, there's another thing to talk about it when you're drinking it or really share it with people. And that really helps a lot. It's that personal knowledge and that personal information and that engagement that people want and crave. Because otherwise it's like, oh yeah, you're just throwing up sales posts here and there.
Yeah.
And like today in mine, I think I posted it. I did some like pre-posts in that too, which is another good thing about groups is that as the moderator or the admin for the group, you can pre-publish some posts.
You can schedule,
them, which is a time saver. So like I last night went on and scheduled some posts for this multi-vendor group that I'm in, to talk about fundraising and then to talk about the Bloom collection. Maybe I'm going to talk about the Bloom collection. I can't remember. I have something. I didn't have it all planned out. It was kind of a last minute. I was going to plan it out, but that's also on my goal is like, so not to mention my other company, but with my jewelry team, we have people that are consultants, but we pay them to make all of the graphics to drop down into parties and words to say into like the Facebook groups, because it's so much easier when you have a whole thing like that. And it's less time consuming. So I just get to go into there, go boom, 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 post these, boom, boom, boom. It makes it much, much easier. So I'd like to develop something like that for these online groups for One Hope. So we can be like, all right, let's have all this information. So we're, it makes it easier for us.
Well, thank you very much for everything today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yay, Michelle, her nephew won his wrestling match at state. Woohoo! Good job.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but I was talking to you and then I'm watching, all of a sudden I'm like,
oh, I didn't see that.
I saw your reaction.
Oh, here, I thought it was something amazing that we were talking about.
Well, it was, but
congratulations. Yeah. Yeah. Donna,
cool.
do you have any questions, Donna? How long have you been a CE? You're on mute. You're on mute though.
Okay, I've been a CE for a year, going on 2 years.
Okay. congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to expand what I do in One Hope, and I was in the wine industry for 18 years in Sonoma County. So
Okay.
yeah, I have wine background. But I'm just trying to expand what I can share, with tastings and such. Just that something different. I don't know how to put it into words so much, but just, and this is wonderful to be able to learn. And maybe I'll go ahead and play around with Canva and see how it goes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're so welcome. I mean, like I said, play around with it. I like it. It's fun. That's kind of how I started with it, was like, oh, I want to make different graphics than, well, when I started with One Hope, there wasn't as many social shareables in as graphics as they create today. They still are, not creating them to what sometimes I feel us as cause entrepreneurs really need.
Right.
And if there's stuff like that too, like I'm happy to, make stuff and share it. Like I try to make, if anything, I share stuff, that it's legit and it's good to go. So if there's something that is shared, it's like the current designs, it's the current labels, that kind of stuff too, because I keep abreast of that. So, and that's why I share this stuff too, because I know a lot of people don't have time. Like, I mean, like Kristen's multitasking up a storm over there today, and nobody has time to stay on a Zoom for 2.5 hours like we did today, except for we did. So
I actually just reached out to probably like 60 people.
Oh, good.
Oh.
To host?
From like,
oh, good. See? So that's a good question too. So I'm gonna probably like edit this video down. So those lead forms that you have, now what do you do with them?
I put them all in the app.
Okay. What are you?
Now I got to figure out what to do, because a lot of these people, I went to a network, and then I have to get going, but I went to a Leadership Illinois networking event, and I got all their names and everything, and I put them all on my phone, and I just like sent them all these links to things that I think they would like, and that they said that they would wanted, but I don't hear back from them in email.
Okay, I'm gonna create another training that we're gonna do, that's gonna be for Flowdesk, which is an email marketing program that you can use.
Is it free?
It's not. It's $19 a month. But I'm going to show you some things with it. But what I highly suggest that you do is, even though you put those in your contacts from One Hope, you don't know if people are unsubscribing from their emails or not. Download those contacts. You need to keep your own contacts. You are your own people. These are your people. Okay. So don't just put them into One Hope and think, oh, One Hope's going to do the marketing for me. They will, but they won't. I don't even know how their strategy works. If they're in as your contact, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're included in One Hope marketing emails. I don't
You're
know.
brilliant, by the way.
I don't
like
I don't know what One Hope does with that information, but these are your customers, your contacts. So download that sheet if you put them in there, and then put them in an Excel file, put them in a Google sheet. Keep your contacts. If you decide to go to another wine company, you launch something, you're going to have an event local.
Which I'm not going to.
No, I know, but I'm like, if you decide and you're no longer doing One Hope, but you're going to do, or you're just doing an event locally, you're like, oh, now I have these contacts. Let me email them, or let me email them and say, hey, I'm looking for this, or you want to send a recipe, or you want to do something. Like, again, it's all about creating, sending them a sales post for, hey, this is a rosé that you might like, because you told me you like rosé. But that's one thing. But it's like, hey, have you tried this strawberry popcorn with rosé? Have you tried, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to create your marketing so it's engaging with people. And that way they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, let me send that out to people, and create that know, like, and trust factor.
Okay.
So,
I sent you a friend request, so
okay,
we'll see.
I will be friends with you.
Thank you.
I will be your friend. It's good. Yeah.
And I'll be Donna's friend.
Yeah, I'll be all your friends. It's good. So, yeah. Perfect. I'm trying to copy this little message down before I.
All right. Well, I have to get going and get stuff done. So,
Yeah, me
but
too.
yeah, anything that's free. And I would love help with social media and how to get things out there because my Instagram is horrible. So we can talk about that later, but thank you very much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm glad you guys were here today. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for everything and being open and listening and all that fun stuff. So, and
I need all the help I can get. So,
well, you guys are all doing great. So that is perfect. And
see you guys later.
yep, have a great day.
Bye, you too.
Bye. Bye, Donna.